7 years ago, I put my first dollar into an ETF. Today, that money has basically doubled. Not bad, right? But here's what keeps me up at night. If I knew then what I know now, it could have tripled. And no, I'm not talking about picking some magical stock or timing the market perfectly. I'm talking about 7 brutal lessons that took me years to learn the hard way, lessons that nobody actually tells you about. Real quick, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. Do your own research. Cool? Let's dive in. 1. Compounding feels nothing like the math. So lesson number 1 hit me like a ton of bricks. And it's this. The math of compounding sounds super simple until you actually live through it. Everyone's seen the charts, right? Invest 10 grand at 10%, wait 7 years, boom, $20,000. Easy. But here's what those pretty charts don't show you. The absolute emotional roller coaster you're about to experience. Because that growth, it's not a smooth line going up and to the right. Some years, your portfolio jumps 30%. Other years, it drops 20%. And watching your money disappear during those down years feels nothing like those clean retirement calculator graphs. Let me tell you what happened to me in 2022. I'd been investing for about 5 years, mostly in broad market funds like VTI. That's Vanguard's total stock market ETF. Things had been going great. Then 2022 happened, the worst year for stocks since 2008. VTI dropped nearly 20% that year. I watched years of gains just evaporate in months. And here's the part that really messes with your head. When you're down 20%, you don't just need a 20% gain to break even. You need 25%. That math asymmetry, you don't really get it until you live through it. Lesson 2. Staying invested is everything. Which brings me to lesson 2. Staying invested through the ugly years matters more than almost anything else. After that brutal 2022, VTI bounced back with a 26% gain in 2023, then another 24% in 2024. Right now, VTI is averaging about 13.5% annually over the past 5 years and around 14% over the past decade. The people who panicked and sold during that crash, they missed the entire recovery. The people who stayed invested, even better, the ones who kept buying, they came out way ahead. And look, I get it. The temptation to sell at the bottom is overwhelming. Every headline is screaming that this time is different. The economy is collapsing. Get out while you still can. Ignoring that noise and sticking to your plan, that's one of the hardest skills to develop, but it's also one of the most valuable. Lesson 3. Fees compound too. Lesson 3 might surprise you. Expense ratios matter less than you think in the short term, but they turn into massive differences over decades. When I first started, I was obsessed with finding the absolute cheapest funds. VTI charges 0.03% annually. SCHD, that's Schwab's dividend fund, charges 0.06%. DGRO charges 0.08%. These seem like tiny differences, right? Who cares about a few basis points? Here's who should care. Future you. Over 30 years, an extra 0.01% in fees on a $100,000 portfolio costs you roughly $30,000 in lost growth. That's 30 grand that could have been compounding for you, but instead went to fund managers. But, and this is important, don't let fee obsession stop you from investing. The difference between 0.03% and 0.08%, negligible. The difference between investing and not investing, everything.
Lesson 7. Ignorance is bliss. Now for Lesson 7. The most counterintuitive one, checking your portfolio less frequently actually improves your returns. Sounds crazy, right? How can ignorance help performance? But the data backs this up. People who check their portfolios daily tend to trade more. More trading means more costs, more taxes, more emotional decisions. When you see your account fluctuate minute by minute, the volatility feels unbearable. But when you check quarterly or annually, same volatility, barely noticeable. My first 2 years, I checked multiple times per day. Every red day felt like a personal failure. Every green day tempted me to celebrate too early. Now, I check maybe once a month, sometimes less. My stress is way down. And here's the kicker. My returns have improved because I'm not tempted to tinker during temporary dips. Real numbers, what this looks like. Let me put some real numbers to this. If I'd invested $10,000 in VTI 7 years ago and just held it, reinvesting dividends, it'd be worth roughly $20,000 today. But if I'd also added $300 every single month during that period, my portfolio would be around $45,000. That's the power of combining consistent contributions with time in the market. Compounding works best when you give it both fuel and runway. The uncomfortable truth. Here's one more uncomfortable truth. Your investment strategy will be tested in ways you can't anticipate. I started with a 20-year plan. Then life happened. Medical expenses, job changes, unexpected opportunities that needed capital. Having money tied up in ETFs with embedded gains creates a psychological barrier to selling. That's mostly good, prevents impulsive decisions. But it also means you need accessible emergency funds outside your investment accounts. The people who had to sell during the 2022 downturn to cover expenses, they locked in real losses. The ones with cash reserves, they stayed invested through the recovery. But it's what allows compounding to actually work over decades. Looking back at 7 years of real-world ETF investing, the lessons that matter most aren't about which fund to pick or when to buy. They're about building systems that let compounding work its magic, despite your own psychology. Automate your contributions so you don't have to decide. Choose funds with built-in quality filters so you don't have to constantly research. Check in frequently so you don't panic. Maintain emergency reserves so you never have to sell at the worst time. These aren't complicated concepts, but they're incredibly difficult to execute consistently. The gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it, that's where most investors fail. And honestly, it's only through experiencing multiple market cycles, the crashes, the recoveries, the slow grinding gains, that these lessons truly sink in. The real wealth in ETF investing doesn't come from picking the perfect fund. It comes from staying invested long enough for compounding to work. VTI's averaged about 12% annually since inception. SCHD's delivered roughly 12% over its history. DGRO, same thing, about 12%. None of those numbers required special insight or perfect timing. They just required patience. 7 years in, I've stopped trying to optimize every little detail. Instead,
I'll link that video right here. And if these lessons changed how you think about investing, drop a comment below. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Lesson 4, dividends are psychological magic. Lesson 4 took me years to appreciate, and it's about dividends. For the first few years, I completely ignored dividend ETFs. Growth seemed way sexier. Why settle for a 3% yield when growth stocks are returning 20 or 30%? But here's what I learned. Dividends play a totally different psychological role than capital gains. When your growth portfolio drops 15% in a bad quarter, you've got nothing tangible to show for it, just a smaller number on your screen. Depressing. But when you own dividend ETFs like SCHD, currently yielding around 3.8%, or a DGRO at about 2%, you're getting actual cash payments every quarter, regardless of what the market does. Those dividend payments create what I call emotional staying power. They give you a reason to hold during the bad times because you're still getting paid, even when prices are falling. Let me break down these funds real quick. SCHD holds about 100 dividend-paying stocks. Companies like Bristol-Myers Squibb, Merck, Lockheed Martin, Cisco, each makes up roughly 4% of the fund. And get this, companies need at least 10 consecutive years of dividend payments just to get in. That's a built-in quality filter. DGRO takes a different approach. It's got around 400 stocks. Apple, Microsoft, JP Morgan, ExxonMobil, lower yield at 2%, but historically stronger dividend growth. Over the past year, DGRO returned about 15% total, compared to SCHD's 5%. But here's the thing, SCHD outperformed for most of the past decade before its recent struggles. Different funds shine in different environments. Lesson 5. Dollar cost averaging saves your brain. Lesson 5. The hidden power of dollar cost averaging, but not in the way most people think. Yeah, investing a fixed amount regularly smooths out your purchase prices. That's the textbook explanation. But after 7 years, I've discovered the real benefit. It removes decision fatigue. When you have a system like invest $500 on the 15th, no exceptions, you don't have to wonder if now is a good time. You don't stress about whether the market is too high or too low. You just execute. And that consistency, it compounds into something remarkable. I set up automatic $400 monthly investments into VTI and SCHD. Over 7 years, that boring, consistent approach has crushed my occasional attempts at lump sum investing, mostly because those lump sums kept getting delayed while I waited for the perfect entry point that never came. Lesson 6. Less is more with diversification. Lesson 6 is about diversification, and it's way more subtle than you think. Early on, I thought diversification meant owning lots of different funds, so I accumulated 10, then 15, then 20 different ETFs, sector funds, international funds, bond funds, REITs. My portfolio looked super impressive. But here's what I eventually figured out. Most of those funds had massive overlap. VTI alone holds over 3,500 stocks. It already includes basically every company in those specialized funds I was buying. I was paying multiple expense ratios for what amounted to tiny tilts in my allocation. Today, way simpler. VTI is my core, gives me broad market exposure. Top holdings are Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Broadcom, Alphabet, Meta, Tesla, Berkshire. About 35% tech, with financials and consumer stocks following. Then I add SCHD or DGRO for some dividend income and value tilt. That's basically it. The simplicity isn't just cheaper, it's more psychologically sustainable.